Hey, what's going on, guys? Let me know if the audio is okay. Kind of coming in hot today. I haven't been here in a little bit because of the show, so that means gremlins come out and touch with a bunch of stuff. So let me know if I sound all right, and we'll get going in a second. Hope everybody's well. Let me just make sure nothing's getting unplugged here by accident. All right, we're good. Let me know if we're good. All right. A little quiet. That's something I never hear from me. So let me see what a little bit quiet means for you guys. Is this any better? This feels a little hot to me. Check 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2 3 4 5. That sounds better. A little better. A little meow meow meow. A little better. Meow meow meow. A little better. All right. All right. Let's get going. Boom. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. This is Live View. If you're new, this is the 9th episode. Believe it or not, we've done 9 of these. Can you believe it? I remember the first episode where we did Edge Mask, which is what I did on stage a lot. Not a lot. A couple demos out of a few demos at WPI in Vegas, which is a trade show that's been going on for a very long time. And hot, but not pushed too far. Okay, let me just edge it back because I'm explosive, guys. I'm explosive, as I'm told by every audio guy ever. All right, so what's going on? I didn't have a plan for today, but I didn't want to not go live because I'm not going to be live next week. I got to shoot a job, which means I'm not going to be here. And next Monday, I will be in. After the next Monday, I'll probably be at NAB. So I don't want to be without keeping this going for a little bit. What's going on? Ronald, Anthony, Michael, Tyler, Eric, Robert. What's up, man? Marcus. What, no, is this all guys? What is this? Do I just scare all the women away all the time? What is going on in here? Kurt, how's it going, buddy? Look, I want to keep these kind of like chill and loose, so I don't want to really always have like a lesson plan for you guys. But if there is anything you guys are looking for me to cover in these live streams, let me know in the comments if you're watching this on playback. Let me know in this chat. This one, I really kind of just threw it together a little bit, but we're going to talk about what I did at WPI. We're going to go through some of the shots I took, and we're going to talk a few things. Deborah? Hey, Deborah, what's going on? Edgar, hey, what's up? Edgar, thanks so much for joining us here. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe because all the live demos out of the Adorama event space, the event space, kids, this glorious, glorious event space, all of it is streamed out of this channel except for Daniel's, which is like grandfathered into the main channel. But if you guys want to see demos from myself or Joe McNally or Lindsay Adler or Ab Cisse, Chris Knight. I mean, we got some really great ones coming up for sure. It's all streamed out on this channel, so make sure you hit subscribe. I know it's a bit of a younger channel than the other channels, but you even get this top down so you can see the lighting layout and stuff we're doing when we're shooting live. So it's a pretty good step, I do say so myself. Look, I think trade shows are important. I think that you get out of them what you put into them. So everybody that's like, they're old hat, or I didn't think it was a good show. Think about what you did, because did you schedule for the classes that you wanted to go to? Did you make it to those classes? A lot of people that don't go to the early 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. classes, they go to the trade shows, they get tired, and they don't even go to the classes in the afternoon. They go, oh, I didn't get anything out of it. It was just a bunch of brand booths. And even if that was the case, did you go to the brands that you use yourself and ask as many questions as you can? Like, are there secret menus I don't know about? Are there settings I'm doing wrong? Is there things that you're having issues with technically on your gear? That's what those brands are there for, you know? And if you're saying, man, I'm looking to upgrade from this to this, did you get in your hands and really see if it's really what you need to do? You think about switching brands from X to Z, well, X to Y, I should say, so there's no brand favoritism there. Did you go and try out brand Y and see if, you know, it just wasn't working out for you? So there's a lot to the trade shows that I believe are all about the people, including the community that goes on there, right? So from the speakers like myself, the classes you want to go take, the people in those classes, the models you work with, the people around you that might share some insight on how they grow their businesses, how they go about shooting, Or even people go there that aren't photographers. I'm talking about art directors and producers and photo directors and people like editors. You know, people go there that are, this is the point of it. It's an industry trade show, a gathering of the photo nerds, right? And I think it's important because then you're not just hearing a bunch of random opinions on YouTube or insights from random guy number 77 4068 in that comment section. You're hearing it from straight up industry, from the actual brand, from people that actually use the stuff, from people that are actually working, from people that are really trying to do this for real, even if you're just a hobbyist. And if you are just a hobbyist, I've even found people that go, I go there and people share spots to go birding or whatever, and they find new locations. Geoffrey Berliner, what's up, man? I'm live right now. Do you want to hop on?
Say what? Live saying what? What do you want me to do?
Yeah. Oh, let me get a mic, guys. We have a master here. Hang on a second. I got to get a mic for you, my friend. Come on. It doesn't matter about your hair. It's raining out. They know that. It's okay.
Old. What about
You're old. You're old. Hang on, guys. Let me get a mic because this is crazy. I've been trying to get this guy forever, and he just comes stumbling in like a bag lady. Hide this bag for me, please. Guys, you're about to be graced with Geoffrey Berliner, the man, the myth, the legend. Hold on, let me see if I got a mic. Check 1 2.
guy?
Check 1 2 3 4. Can you guys hear this mic? Oh, I know why. Hold on, hold this. Hang on. Can you guys hear this? Come on, take this. Guys, this is Geoffrey Berliner. I don't think you guys are ready for this. Let me know if you can hear him okay. Talk.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, wait, this mic is not doing it.
Maybe you gotta turn it on.
It is on. Check 1 2 3 4. What is going on here? Oh, it's not plugged in. It's on, but it's not plugged in. See, this is the stuff, guys. This is why we go live. Geoffrey Berliner actually is the guy that has probably the biggest used gear in the world comes from this guy. Check 1 2 3 4. There we go. There you go. Came in out from the cold for you guys.
Not that cold.
It's wet.
Wet.
It's wet. It's wet. So Geoffrey Berliner actually started the Penumbra Foundation years ago. Founded, which is started.
Yes, it started it, yes, but I like to use that word for particular reasons. But anyway, yes, I founded it.
You over there, he used to come in here and talk a lot and gather people to learn tin type, wet plate, old processes that might have not that need to get passed on, which you might not readily be available to you in this digital age. And he'd come in here every time. Every time I've seen Geoffrey, different camera. Never the same camera, never the same lens combination. Right now, what are you rocking? What is this in the wetness?
The original Sony Alpha with the lights or Leica Elmarite Macro 60s. Nice lens.
I can't even imagine what your gear closet must be like.
It's not a closet. It's like a 3.
You talk soft, so.
It's all over the place. It's in New York. It's up in Kingston. It's in storage facility. It's at a friend's house. I mean, it's all over the place at this point. I don't have enough room for it. So.
What do you say to people that are always after the next and new?
I say look old, because the next and the new is basically designed with the idea of you getting rid of your old, which is, I'm sure, fine, and sometimes even better because it has a look that the new has gotten rid of.
Well, I think
you have an old camera that has a particular, especially a sensor. It has I like this camera. This is the original Sony Alpha. I bought it when it came out, and I like it's not as perfect as these newer sensors, which are sharper, more contrasty. If I want something for artistic purposes, personal vision, something that gives a little bit of funk, and then I'm going to put a different, I'm going to put an analog lens on it, and I have all kinds. I can control what that looks like. The new cameras, not that I have anything against new, because they'll become old at some point too, right?
Well, I think,
but I like things that give me more artistic options.
You're after character. You're after personality of the gear,
right?
Which I don't think people chase. I think they chase numbers and specs and like what is on a sheet rather than what's in their hand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much on the web, social media. There's so many. And there's marketing, and there are companies. Not that everybody look. I like that they're making new stuff. But I think there's a marketing mill that pushes you down a path to spend a certain amount of money. on something that you don't necessarily have to. I know I'm in a new camera store here, but
They sell used gear.
I'm just yeah. So
You're going to drive them crazy in a minute. You're going to go over to Angel. You're going to be
Exactly.
like, what's that thing? Can I pay a third of that? He's going to be like, well, I got it for this. You're going to be like, it's worth half that. And then you're going to be like, then why'd you try to pay me a third of that? It's going to go through this whole thing. He's going to start yelling. Then I'm going to, oh, Geoffrey's here. And then, they go into this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, my attitude is if you want the newest, which is great, it has a warranty and, it has, all kinds of.
Well, there's certain requirements for, like, if I shoot commercially, they're going to ask me for certain resolutions. They're going to ask me for certain things.
It's all a machine driven so that you get new gear. And there's nothing wrong with that if you have a client that wants that and needs that, and the interface has to be such, and then you need the latest Photoshop, and you need the latest monitors and blah, blah, blah. That's all fine. That's not my world. My world has always been art photography, straight photography, analog photography, and using digital, which I'm using more and more now, so that I can sort of relatively easily replicate that analog look, because I don't have access to a darkroom anymore. So, and it's a lot easier as I get older, and it's easier to view through this than to schlep around a big 8x10 camera, something like that.
What's been some of your favorite film stock?
Oh, I'm Tri-X guy.
All right. Oh, straight through. Like,
Usually Tri-X.
you can develop that in chicken soup,
Yeah, Tri-X got a lot of latitude. Mostly black and white.
Not a
If you
T-Max
color it,
guy?
it'll be- no, I don't like.
The grain structure's clean. It's like, it doesn't look the same.
I like
Yeah, I
edge.
know.
I like tooth. I like a little edge.
You like a little edge.
Yeah.
You ever,
I'm an old guy. I mean, I go back to, when I started, it was Tri-X. I like that look. A lot of photographers and artists.
I like Plus X personally.
I like Plus X too.
Plus X is
depending on
beautiful.
your light,
It is depending on the light. People don't realize that light is everything.
It is everything. Follow the light and then decide what you want to do with it. Most people just take whatever they have and wherever they're shooting and in any situation, and they get a bad picture, not because of bad composition or not because they're not looking right. It's because they didn't look at the light. They said, this is the light I have, and
Do you think there's any like unsung lenses out there? Like, there's definitely like some ones that I feel like that weren't like hyped up, and now people are going back to find, like the Helios lenses. People sought after them. Do you feel it's like a character lens that people just didn't pay attention to that you personally like?
Well, everything is, so the cat is out of the bag for many years now. People go online, they can research these things. There's a lens called the Voigtlander Heliar. Now, I'm not talking about the Voigtlander that they make now. I'm talking the original Heliar. This is for a larger format. But there are, some, Russian lenses are fun to work with. They have interesting bokeh. They are earlier Canon lenses, which people didn't screw mount Canon like a screw mount Canon lenses. 51.2, certainly the Dream lens comes to mind, but that's expensive. But a 51.2 lens you can get for a couple $100. It's not as sharp as a Leica lens. Some people want to spend $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 on an Octolux, but you can get a 1.2 Canon for a couple $100. You can use it low light. It's a little bit soft, and it gives you a nice natural look, especially for portraiture.
I think people go after Leica glass because of the color rendition, don't you?
Color rendition, smoothness of the tonality for Leica lenses. It's not sharp, but the earlier Canon screw mount lenses and things like that have that softness to them that even modern Leica lenses don't have. If you compare the Leica of that period to the Canon of that period, most people would probably go with the Leica, but then you're spending a lot of money.
If I got a young kid in the chat right now that's looking at the used department for something to pick up to get going for their first serious setup, what's a recommendation you'd have?
For digital or for film?
Digital.
I'd get a used Sony Alpha. You can get a lot of adapters for it. You can get Leica adapters. This is an R adapter. They have M adapter. They have adapters. They have Alpha adapter. They have Pentax adapter. And I would start experimenting with the earlier lenses that are less expensive. If you want speed, look at this. There are some speed lens, f2, 1.5. Russian lenses. I mean, start experimenting with a little bit of money. Don't spend a lot of money. You can get one of these for like $500-600. Put a lens on there for $100. Adapters, $25. And you're doing stuff that no kid on the block is doing.
Yeah, and if you try to understand your point of view and look as a photographer, you're only going to know that by shooting a lot of different styles and looks until you land at what's your voice. I feel like people get these ideas in their head of like what they think they want it to look like.
They get other ideas. They get other people's ideas in their
Exactly. Well, you emulate to start, right? You didn't emulate anybody to get your stuff started?
No, everybody does.
Look at the ego in this guy. Look at this.
Yeah,
you see it?
Ego, yeah,
Do you see it?
The biggest ego in the world. That's I haven't got my hair cut yet, but I'm doing that tomorrow. No,
Come on, it's a crazy professor
the
look.
point I'm going to make is that too many people focus on equipment, and it's not. I love equipment. I have more equipment than anybody. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I understand that it's a thing.
Yeah.
A photograph is different. A photograph comes from a person.
Yep.
Comes from a vision. Comes from an understanding, and
Principles.
figure out what you want to say. Figure out why it is you're doing this. A lot of people are drawn to photography for a reason. Usually, it's because they saw a photograph, or they know a photographer, or the particular photographer they like, and it influenced the way they think. It says, wow, they're saying something, and that's affecting me. So the next step is, well, I want to affect other people too. What is my voice? What is my
Exactly.
vision? What do I want to say? And then once you understand that, that's a much harder thing to do than buying a camera. Then once you buy that camera, you say, well, does what, and you mentioned that a little, does what I have help me to say what I want to say?
Exactly.
Or do I need to look in a different direction so that the equipment amplifies or helps or supports what it is I want to say?
Are you still doing workshops or anything?
I'm going to be doing some workshops with my friend Jolene Lupo.
Oh, she's awesome.
Everybody should check her out. Jolene Lupo studio. She's in, I think, Bushwick, Ridgewood. She has a tintype studio. You can look her up on the web.
I'm trying to get her on Coffee with Creators, so stay tuned for that.
She's a tintype and a photographer and an artist, and she is taking sessions, so you can certainly, support her by having a tintype made. And she's going to be teaching some tintype workshops and some, a few group workshops, private tutorials. I'm probably going to be helping her with that. I'll probably assist. I'm not going to be teaching myself. I may teach something on lenses. I may teach something about photography in general. I'm not going to do process that much anymore. I have other things going on, but I think it's really important to support artists, especially young artists, who are working and trying to make their path. So she's an incredible artist. Check her out, and definitely look at her Instagram page, Jolene Lupo, and her website.
There is no industry without community. There is no community without us. And if you don't support the one next to you, they're not going to support you and this industry as a whole. So if you want anything out of this, you got to put into it. That's the way I look at it, at least.
Yeah.
But I hope that you keep going. I hope you keep doing cool stuff, because I got to say, like, you hear how much is coming out of them in like 5 minutes. It's really amazing. You can feel the energy of this crazy
I have
guy.
a few brain cells left. That's it.
Only a few. Only in
the morning when I had my coffee. The coffee is very important.
Where can they find you?
Go to my Instagram, Geoffrey Berliner, and I have a lot of information. Whenever I post an image, I generally say what camera I use, what lens I use, what emulsion I use, whether it's digital, whether it's film, what format it is. I describe it. You can always instant message me or direct message me. I do respond and I do answer questions. I'm happy to help out photographers. Been doing it for 20 years.
Crazy.
And a lot of, one of the main things is important to me is to help young artists and photographers, because it's very expensive to do this. Most artists don't, and photographers don't have money. And what's an inexpensive way to do it? Why spend a lot of money? A lot of people make mistakes buying the wrong thing, listening to the wrong information or advice, and they end up with stuff that they don't need, they don't use, they put it on the shelf. The idea is to give them an idea of what would best suit what they're trying to say.
Yeah, they try to buy abilities, I call it,
Yeah.
which is sad, right?
It is
But in the digital era, what's great about it to me is the gear depreciates so much as the generations go forward, because we have cameras coming out more and more than we've ever had before. It makes it that much easier to get the older generations. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. Guys, the older generations are available to you at an easier cost point, and the lenses can go with you. So if you do upgrade going forward, or if there's something else, you can take that system with you.
And also keep in mind that some stuff, especially analog stuff, some of it is going up in value.
The analog stuff, which is, I think as we go forward and we keep losing more and more of it because of parts and all this other stuff, it just goes up and up in value. But I do kind of like that people are collecting it now. Like it'll be saved,
Yeah, and there's a lot of history and knowledge to learn from these things. I mean, you find an old lens somewhere at a flea market. What is it? Look it up, see what it is, see what it does. Maybe it's something you can use.
Do you have any site resources that you give them if they want to look into like some older systems and stuff?
Off the top of my head, no. There was a great website, antiquecameras.net, but that's been down for a while.
All right, not a big deal.
There are blogs. Large format photography forum is one of them. There are a lot of like a blog, large format blogs. I think what is it called, Photrio, or I forget.
Oh, Photon.
Yeah, not Photon. There's a few of them that have they're blogs.
We converted my Cambo long rail 4x5 to a GFX 102 here live. If you missed that one, it's a few episodes back. That was pretty wild, although that lens does not render well or resolve well on that sensor, but it's an ILX number 5 shutter and a Kodak 14-inch lens, and it was super fun to show them live. A lot of them like
Kodak
never.
14-inch with a commercial lector?
Yeah, commercial lector, yeah.
Beautiful lens. Avedon lens.
Yes. He's the only one that's, oh man, of course it's him.
Avedon, I think Irving Penn used that lens.
Irving Penn used the Nectar?
I think he did, yeah. For an 8x10, I think he did. Commercial lector.
Huh.
I mean, keep in mind that lens was used for commercial photography, stills, portraiture, all kinds of
Well,
things.
what's crazy is now I can just switch the camera and I'm doing video through a 4x5.
Wow.
It's crazy. You couldn't even, you got tilt, you got shift, you got swing.
Very long lens,
Yeah, it's very long. And you know, you can get super macro and you lose all that light, but because you're digital, it just compensates for it by itself, which is like, you know how many times I have to put that stick on top of the 4x5?
That's what this does. This compensates the ISO. I'm a big fan of, I know people are going to probably say, no, don't do that. Auto ISO. I love auto ISO.
Auto ISO, I think, is completely underrated. Snobby pros are like, oh, it's like, no. If it gets people shooting and keeps them going, whatever.
Exactly. So your file is not exactly as crisp as it would be with a lower ISO, but so what?
If you
Don't get the shot, or worry about your ISO.
If you want to, yeah, exactly. If you want a lower ISO, open up, slow down. It's up to you to still tailor it. I mean, give me a break.
Aperture priority.
What's the gentleman's name? This is Geoffrey Berliner with a G.
Yeah, G-E-R.
And you guys should all follow him. I think he's a tremendous resource, a great community member. He was actually on the Photo Brigade podcast years ago in here, and I'm trying to get him on Call of the Creators, but every time I ask him, he goes, you should have this person. He always tells me somebody else's name I should have on instead of him.
Well,
but meanwhile,
I went up other people. I went, look, Jolene Lupo was on that panel.
I got to fill time. You're doing it for me right now, you know?
Was on that. Another thing I just wanted to point out about people, especially if you're students in a photography program, for a BFA or an MFA, is that, they don't teach, there are a couple things they don't teach, which I find, a little bit unfortunate, is they don't really teach the business of photography.
Yeah, that I wish I paid more attention to.
And they don't teach equipment. They teach the equipment that usually is either given to them so that it gets sold to you by the camera companies or something that they know themselves. Most people don't, most people in these programs, and there was a time when they themselves experimented with photography, experimented with emulsion, experimented with equipment and lenses and different kinds of camera, and then they would pass that on.
Breathe, it's okay, breathe.
Right. And then they would pass that on.
Last question. Can you ask Jeff what his favorite Nikkor lens is, and then I'll let you go because you're being pulled off by your adoring fans.
My favorite Nikkor lens, oh gosh.
The 105 portrait lens was nuts.
I did use that for tiny types, and that was a very good lens. I like, I have these Nikkor lenses for the, the rangefinder.
The S series?
The S series, yeah. And I have a couple of lenses for that. I think you're the 25 millimeter that I like a lot, and a 35 millimeter. I like those lenses very much.
Cool. Guys, I got to let him go, but you got to come back for the podcast. And go follow Geoffrey Berliner. If I remember, I'll put it in his Instagram in the comments when I get back. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you. No, of course, man. You got to do more stuff.
I'm getting there.
Listen, don't die on me, all right?
No, I'm in good shape.
I love this guy. I'm really glad I got him on here. I'm glad he comes stumbling in here out of the cold. Look at this guy, all drenched for you guys. Geoffrey Berliner on Instagram. And check out Jolene Lupo also. Two very good names you guys got to know, okay? I don't know where we were, guys. I think we were talking about WPPI. Let me, actually, you know what? Let's pull him up right now because Geoffrey Berliner. Hang on, guys. I'll pull him up. Anyway, this is what I'm talking about. This is what the event space is. Amazing people come stumbling in here. And we just kind of have the ability to talk. Why am I not getting anything? Do I have no internet? Am I streaming right now? Do I have no internet? There we go. All right, let me see what we got here. Geoffrey. There we go. Okay, so this is Geoffrey Berliner's page. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. You guys can go hit follow on that. But just so you guys have an idea of who we're talking to here. This is the guy, just so much incredible back knowledge of archival gear and processes and just like crazy, like, putting things together that I haven't seen anyone be doing, done too much. And larger format, is that a Super D? What is that? That's a Graflex, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if that's a Super D, but it's a Graflex. I have one of those actually. It's a 2x3, I believe. 8x10 cameras. I mean, look at this thing. 11x14 cameras. This is really where you break it down to like, whoa, this is what we're doing. How many Brooklyn reflectors did you all hand out? A little over 200 Brooklyn reflectors got handed out at the trade show this weekend. This weekend? Was it a weekend? No, it was a week, right? It was pretty rad because I was like, man, I hope I don't got to take these home because people don't really know what it is except for us, guys. Don't forget that. Then people heard about what it was like, I'm going to need one of those. So it was really cool to see people instantly click with it if they've never seen the years and years of pizza box demos we've done in this event space. I actually should probably do the demo where we turn it into a strip light. If you guys want to do that, let me know. I'll try to figure that out. Maybe next time we'll do the pizza box as a strip box. Could be kind of cool. I do have a weird lens that I kind of want to show you guys, and I forgot it. So that was my plan for the next one. However, back to the trade show, I just want to say, like, you really do get out of it what you put into it, and it's really the people from the speakers and the attendees that make the trade shows. The brands come and go. The gear always changes. Whatever. There'll always be some shiny new toy. There will always be some AI thing that'll tell you it'll solve your life. Whatever. But it's really the people that formulate an energy together. There's really this weird collaboration that happens on the fly. Like if you're a Comic-Con kid and you ever seen somebody like rock a costume and you're like, how do you know about that? I thought I was the only one into it. Same thing happens at those trade shows. Like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Is that a Nikon rangefinder? I haven't seen one of those in a minute. Like, it's kind of what goes down. Or you just hear ideas on the fly, or you see things that are set up and you take bits and pieces out of it and you really start taking things back. Oh, what am I totally didn't realize I was on picture-in-picture. Sorry about that. Do you guys want to walk through some of the shots I did for the demo? Let me know in the chat. I'll walk through it. That's kind of what that was about. I did the rainy car scene. I did all that. Amazing models this time. Really, really, I mean, really made my job easy. They knew exactly what I was trying to do. They weren't boring. Can't give enough credit to WPI for what was going on here. I need to get somewhere where I can get one of those pizza boxes. Yeah, that's kind of the hard part right now. I'm trying to figure out if we can ship them. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. So what's probably going to happen is either at the trade shows when supplies last, or if you come here to the Adorama event space, if you actually physically come into 42 West 18th Street, that's probably how you're going to get them going forward. When I'm done with the rest of the trade shows this month, I'm going to recalibrate and see what's going on, okay? And then we're going to figure out something going forward. But I got to tell you, thank you guys so much for the super positive response to the Brooklyn Reflector. Adorama took a huge gamble even getting them made. I mean, that's not free, guys. It's custom made board, custom made box, custom graphic, all of it. So I really was... It's really cool that they rolled dice on it and see if it could actually be a thing. And I'm really glad that it became a thing. You should really show those videos behind you in the demo booth when you're handing them out. So we used to have a screen at the booth that always ran the Adorama content on a loop. So I don't know why we didn't have that this time. Probably ran out of real estate, to be honest with you. I've seen today a review of the Brooklyn Reflector on YouTube. Wait, who did that? Who did a review of the Brooklyn Reflector on YouTube? Somebody tell me a channel name right now, because we're about to go storm those comment section. I hate that I'm on a delay. I got to tell you. How many lights did you sport in your demo? Okay, so which demo, right? A lot of the demos I was doing, I was trying to keep it real dialed in, less gear inundated and more technique. So my Pro Photo Summit demo, 2 lights, done. In, out, done. The Nikon stage, single strobe, 1 constant light, because I was doing a specific demo where I could show you how to kill the strobe and go in between ambient and strobe. And then my main demo was, it was a strobe, constant light in her hand, and then all the background was people's flashlights from their phones. So it's not really about how many lights I'm throwing at something. It's about why we're throwing those lights in to make you know what I'm saying? It's never about just throwing gear at a situation. You just heard Geoffrey, right? My man's walking around with a relic. It's not about the gear. It's about what you're trying to achieve. And when I was done with my stage demo, the one with the rainy car scene, if you look at that setup, you could do that setup in under $100. Granted, I used $2,000 lights because I've been shooting for 25 years and I earned that right. However, you could have done it with 2 speed lights and a pocket light that you can get for a few bucks. We can walk through that. Do you guys want to walk through the shots from the demos? I'll talk it out because I know you couldn't be there. And part of the thing is you got to be there. There's no recordings, no streaming. The whole thing is you got to be there. And there's a different energy, especially as someone on stage, when I'm not doing this to people that aren't here. You're literally like jamming yourself into people's skulls like feet from you. Different vibe. I'm definitely more crass and harder, but I think the last thing I want to do is be forgettable. Does that make sense? So if you guys want to walk through the demo shots, I'll be happy to do that. And we actually, the techniques I did on the pro photo stage were actually born out of the first episode of this that we did 8 episodes ago. So the edge mask, okay? So the first setup, hold on, let me just grab, this orange is getting really, really hot and it's disgusting, but oh, immune system. Oh, by the way, how come no one said hello to Quinn? What is this? You have no manners anymore? I'm sorry. No, it's true. That's what I said about them too. You want to see it? You want to do the walkthrough? Okay, so when I shoot at the trade shows, I try to put all my classes into one session and capture one. Because a lot of times what happens is by the last class I have, half of them came from the first class I did, right? So I want to walk back concepts that I was already teaching or whatever I was doing on stage. So then we're building it. So I think the pro photo demo, I had about 200 people. And you know it's a serious demo when they give them tables to write notes on. That is very weird when people are writing notes about what you're saying. One guy was like, hey, how do I establish a rapport with a model that I just met? And I, as a kind of half a joke, I was like, don't be a creep. And the guy was like, oh, and he actually sat there and wrote it down. I was like, at least you're writing it down? I don't know. I hope it was taken lightheartedly, but yeah, seriously, don't be a creep. All right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you guys. Where are your manners? What is this? Immune system. What's that? So trade shows have always gotten me sick. This time, not so much, but I do have a swollen eye. I don't know if you guys can even tell, but I don't know what happened, but my eyelid got so swollen on the way back. It was so bad. Clockwork Orange for the win. Yep. Our Lord and Savior, Stanley Kubrick, right? All right, let's go into this. So the first model I had, I feel like I didn't even utilize her right because she had long, amazing black hair to her knees. It was like this amazing waterfall of gorgeous hair. Let's jump into this. So over here on the left, this is basically that edge mask. If you guys remember the edge mask, actually, I think I have the edge mask packed up. Actually, let me pull out the edge mask while I got it, okay? So let me clear this. This is the Pro Photo 4-foot silver Octa. And now Pro Photo's going all in on the weirdness. I love it. And they're doing the edge mask, which I love it. And I'm not going to say what it is, but you're going to see a video come out around April 3rd on the main channel that's going to feature this edge mask with a thing that I can't talk about, but that video shows what I did on this demo. Is that capiche, right? All right, so tell me this has edge mask on it, or I'm just, nope, no edge mask. Of course, no edge mask. Why would there be edge mask sitting on there? Let me see, hang on. I got all these extra things. Four stop, bam, 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 bam. Edge mask. Okay, so edge mask is this. It's that diffuser we used in episode 1 of this, right? With that dense black circle, and it's got the reflector on the back to use as much of the residual light as possible when you're using this 4-foot Octa. Of course, it's not just for the 4-foot Octa. You can get in a lot of different things. There's also a 2x3 that Pro Photo put out the same time as this, and it's pretty awesome. But that's what I used here. In fact, if you look over here at her eye, you can tell right? You can tell that the edge mask is there and I'm standing in the middle of it. So this is with 4-foot octa behind me, edge mask, ripping, right? Some of you are gonna be like, oh, but Seth, that's a ring light. Not really. I have a lot more control than a ring light here, and it is, I don't wanna say beam angle, but it is spreading in a different way than just like a ring light that's just kind of like flying at you. No problems, Brian. Can we get edge mask at Adorama? Absolutely, you can get edge mask at Adorama. What do you think this is? What do you think this is? Hang on, I'll show you. Where is it? Adorama.com. Pro Photo Edge Mask. And so there's strip mask and there's edge mask. Strip mask is the opposite. It actually narrows down your box to have the diffusion in the center. Typically you would see that on a strip light, like a 1x3, 1x4. So you'd make that even more narrow. It's not like a grid which maintains the full foot, just doesn't spread. It's a literal strip in the center. Edge mask is right here so you can get 2x3 over here. You can get the 4-foot octa right here. And you know, don't think you have to go in for a whole new box. You can just get that edge mask and put on the box you're using. Keep in mind, the color and the temperature of the light will change. It's not the same diffusion you've been using on whatever box you're used to. So make sure that you just are aware of that when you're shooting, okay? And you've got all these options. The 3x4 is nice. The 4-foot, I never really got to work with this size of a circular edge mask before, and that's kind of why I'm leaning on it so much. And that's where we get, here, I'll even throw this in the chat, okay, guys? So you can get this edge mask, put in the chat, bada bing, and put this edge mask in the chat, bada boom. Okay, so now, thank you so much, David. I really appreciate that. The edge mask is cool because it can work in so many different ways if you understand how it's changing your light. So behind me, it's ripping, right? A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll do like a 3-foot or a 4-foot octa, and they'll stand in front of it and they become what blocks it. But because you yourself aren't a uniform shape to constantly block, every time you move, or even because I'm blocking more in the lower half of the box than the top half, because even though my head's massive, right? It doesn't block as much as my shoulders, right? So this keeps it consistent. And if you're doing something critical, consistency is key. And just having a standard, like always consistent, always reliable shape that's blocking the area of the light that you're trying to block, you get consistent shots, okay? That's a big deal. Now the edge mask with me standing in front of it is one thing because that's a wall of light. And you can see that over here, right? This is where we make her face with as flat a shape as possible from the light. As we go to the right, I'm shaping her face more and more. On these two, 1, 2, over here, the middle and the right, you're looking at the edge mask behind her. And what that does is it rakes across her. And based on her distance to that black dot, we change drastically. I urge you guys to watch episode 1 of this where we did that in real time. I think that'll really explain it for you instead of me going over it here. And then the front of her was shaping her differently with the same light. So it's the same woman, minutes apart, same lights, different distances and angles to shape her out when you have a completely different jawline here, you know? I mean, the depth, everything, even the shapes of her features. And this is Sophie, by the way. She was incredible, super, super happy. She was my model because it just made my life so easy. She was incredible. Some questions in the chat. Would it make sense to use edge mask without the inner diffuser? So I like using the inner diffuser for the edge mask because I feel it makes the light source larger before going to the outer diffusion. So the reason for the inner diffusion in a softbox isn't just like double diffusion. It's really so that it hits that, makes that light source larger and diffuses, it breaks apart and spreads inside that box to then cover that bigger baffle. Otherwise, you tend to get a hot spot in the center. So by that logic, if I have the edge mask in there and I want this, the diffusion, that's the circle around the edge, if I want this, you know what, let me mount this really quick. It'll make things a lot easier. I keep on using my hands to explain stuff. Oh, look, I have a Pro Photo light right here. How convenient, guys. So the whole thing is that you want it to be even across the whole way. Otherwise, you're just going to get like, you're not making the flattest light that you can from the box. Let me put this somewhere that it won't get wrecked. Put this up here like this, bada boom. And let me lock it down. Okay, so this is our softbox, right? There are many like it, but this one is mine. Huh? Stanley Kubrick? All right. I put this up in here. And you can see what I'm talking about, right? Like you want this white part, this diffusion part, to be as even as you can. So give it the benefit of the doubt the best you can, right? Give it that inner baffle. I am doing this so sloppy and I apologize. Right? So we want this to be as even as possible. Otherwise, there's no point to doing an even feeling light, which is what I have over here. You know, we're literally making a wall of light so that the fall off happens past our head. So we're not seeing gradation, thus we're not seeing shape. Here, look at the gradation hit here as opposed to here. Big difference. Big difference in the shape of this person's face. That's what we're doing. You know? Are these only for Pro Photo? Can they fit? If your box has the same dimension, 4-foot octa, it should fit. Again, you will see a difference in your color temperature. You will see a difference in your color if you're used to the way that softbox that you normally use looks with that diffusion. This is changing that completely because the last thing your light leaves is your light source. So this might run cooler or warmer based on whatever you're using. Some soft boxes run greener, I find, which I'm not a fan of. You know, when I want skin tone to be on point, I want theoretically get the same effect of the true parabolic and a flag in front of it. Theoretically, yes, but you're also talking a way more involved setup than one box with one piece of diffusion. Also, when you put a flag in front of it, you're kind of not being you're not optimizing the light, meaning that it's leaking around that flag, but here you have a silver bounce in here to use the rest of that residual light and not waste it into the black. Also, it's keeping all the light inside the box as opposed to any type of bleed around. If there's like an inch, 2 inch, 3 inch away from that box, it'll make a difference. If that flag isn't perfectly flat to whatever you're putting it to, you will have a difference. You could get fogging, you could get bleed around, you could get flaring, all sorts of stuff. And if you want those effects, then you know that that's more of a setup that you want to do rather than a super controlled edge mask. You know? So there's that. So if you want, check out episode 1 where I walk you guys through that. But pretty much I was showing how to really sculpt out someone's face and really trying to make people understand and notice the notice the subtleties of light, which make everything. When you start stacking a ton of subtleties, that's when you start making an impact, you know? And again, people don't realize what they're looking at. People don't understand what you did to the light. They just know what they're looking at and does it register? Does it make them feel a different way? When you look at her on the right, a lot more, you know, John Wick, you know, drama. Right here, more soft focus type of a headshot, referential, you know, model testy looking kind of thing, you know? in the last of those three, is that the edge mask right behind her in the last? This, the edge mask was not right behind her, because if it was, you would see this. This is the edge mask right behind her over here. See how much it reaches around? As opposed to here. So where we ended up was more about here for the edge mask. So this is where I left it, where she steps. The farther someone or your subject is away from the edge mask, the less it's going to reach around them. Because at the time of expelling, it's spilling this way the most, the closer you are to it, right? Makes sense, because it's misting from the diffusion like this, right? If I'm here, now it's more just hitting the back of the head more than the front of her face. The more they walk forward, the more and more it hits just the back of their head. So this is right against, I mean, look, it even lights her eye up. I mean, that's crazy, right? So you can really dial this in how you want. So if you have a bunch of subjects coming in that day that you want this particular look for whatever reason, mark the distance that you like that light at. So you have them blocked out, meaning you put a T on the ground with some tape, and that's where they're standing, and that's how it's going to work for them. You know what I mean? So there's that. And, you know, we played some other games, and of course I went through a lot of other stuff. So that was the first demo I did. And then I did some dumb tricks, you know, the usual, like whatever, you know, whatever. Then I had this incredible woman be my model for the rainy car demo thing that I do, the cinematic lighting, which I think I do a lot at trade shows, because I like to build it with a huge crowd. Plus, having a huge crowd is part of the shot, because I use your cell phones as my background. I'm trying to really own that one. You know, I really want, if someone else does it, I want them to be like, oh, that's a Seth thing. You know, I really want people to kind of correlate cell phone flashlights background as something I do, you know. So we built this shot from the black frame here, right? And I mean, how amazing is this girl? Gosh. Hit her with a strobe, shooting shallow, like 1.2, just crazy shallow. And just so you know, this is what it looked like to me up on that stage, because it was completely blacked out, and all I had were these Lico lights at eye level ripping into my retinas. Was anybody in this chat in that class? Because they'll tell you how dark it was in there and how absolutely obnoxious it was trying to see what I was doing. I couldn't see past half, like probably the first row, you know? Are you guys with me still? Did I lose you? 60 people in this chat, only 30 likes. I must be doing a horrible job today. Oh, man. So I couldn't see what I was doing. I'm shooting crazy shallow. The camera is shooting a super backlit subject. It was rough, man. I mean, look at how amazing this woman is, though. Oh, yeah. She made my life so easy. Yeah, so Edgar, you know how dark it was in there. Dan Arango, I know you were in there. I kept on leaning on you. It was a challenging setup. The stage was 4 square feet. I had 4 square feet, and it was sort of taken up by a podium that I'm like ripping out the cables to move over to the side. It was so annoying, but we made it happen. And I said, I think the first thing I said when I got up there was like, look, this is gonna be a hard shot, but this is what we do. Like, I'm a pro, I'm gonna make it happen, you know? So it was, I think being able to pull things off in really hard situations live is important for you guys to see. I think it's important for you to be a part of it, going through the motions with it, seeing what all the challenges are, you know, hearing the decisions that are made to get out of that challenging situation, things like that, you know? So we went over to putting a strobe on her, right? And I was like, yeah, that works, I guess. You know, ripped a light into some stuff, and it was just so much light. And then, of course, I started with the rain texture, right? Where we start getting, you know, I mean, first of all, can I get a hand for that focus at 1.8, the side of an eyeball? Look at, come on, guys. Come on. Do I not get a round of applause for this one? Look at this. Look at how thin that was. Backlit, tiny stage, nerve damage in my neck. Come on. You guys are killing me. But that was not an easy focus to pull. I was doing single point focus. I wasn't going to start playing games with letting the camera try and decide what a backlit subject, side profile with no light. I wasn't going to let the camera start making decisions for me. So that was a decision I made. All right. And then I started adding lights from the back. We started, I asked him what kind of gel we should go with, and the gel color dictates a lot of things. I'm not going to run through that because that's kind of being at the demo, As an attendee, not a presenter, what was your favorite part of it? Are you asking me or the people in the chat? Because I wasn't an attendee, but being an attendee is, man, come on, look at that focus. Come on, man. Come on, man. No, I wasn't using eye detect. Not that I didn't fully trust it, but when I have a few hundred people staring through me, I can't play games here, and that is a no-win situation that I was in. However, that camera clearly focused where I wanted it when I told it to go there. So credit to the Z9 on that one, right? I mean, that is razor thin, guys. Look at that. Razor thin. That's the 85 1.2 lens. Unreal, right? And then we started adding in some lights. So I started giving her a pocket light to give her that blue underneath. Did I miss focus on this one? I wonder. Nah, I just missed. Look how thin that focus was. I just missed by a little millimeter. Unreal. These in the background are the crowd's cell phones, right? So we went from a death black. Well, first of all, I should mention this. I went from this to a 16:9. Look at the difference, right? The aspect ratio is more cinematic. We cut off the top and bottom. It also helps me mitigate these lights in the back. Then we started playing games. So I used the warm light behind her. I didn't eliminate that warm light. I gave it to her to give her a little right here. Can you guys see this? That warm light that's hitting me, I used as part of the shot. So that was kind of lucky that it was there, but if I'm going to deal with it as a hazard, I'm going to use it as part of my shot if I can, like make the best of a situation. And I think the warmth kind of makes it less distraction. It's not like she's like super lit, Skip is asking, what made you use the Z9 instead of the GFX? Well, one, I use the Z9 a lot more for demos just because it's a more versatile camera. It lets me focus closer. It's faster in general, but the GFX, if I slowed my demo style down and I didn't change up my setups like ridiculously fast and go all over the place, I'd absolutely use the GFX. But I just know that with the Z9, it very rarely works itself into a corner. With the GFX, while the lenses are stunning and beautiful, sometimes they hit a limit on close focus, and I want to step in there kind of tight. And if there's, the Nikon lets me have a 24 to 120 range lens, right? 24 to 120. I don't really have a lens that range inside the GFX. So if I want to show something with lens compression or lens choices, I'm not sitting there changing lenses, because I got to tell you, those minutes on that stage, they just go. They are flying. They are melting away. And so are people's attention spans. And the last thing I want to do is, let me change my lens for the 40th time. The GFX system is so deliberate for me. I know what I'm getting into. I know I'm pulling it out because of what I'm getting myself into with the shot or what I'm looking to get out of the shot. This, in the demo situations, I'm rarely trying to showcase something that specifically would be what you would get from something as special as the GFX system, which stunning system. I love that I have it in my repertoire. But for demos, I really got to stay versatile. I really got to stay quick, especially when someone says, how would that look like this? Because there's always those questions. Well, if I'm stuck in a more specific, deliberate gear scenario, I can't really do it, So that's why. Going back to this. So I put in this, I don't remember what name of the gel. I want to say it was violet or something. And I just knew it was going to hit really nice because we had the warm tones coming in on her hair. And so violets, not so much a pink, not a deep purple, but I guess I could just call it violet, right? Really mixes well with warm tones. I knew it was going to hit. Plus, I went through this whole talk about that gel color could mean a million different things by the choice you're making. So we had the rain effects going on, and then, so you can see like the dotting of the light on her forehead. You can see the dotting of the light happening. So we're making essentially a cookie out of, raindrops here, okay? Then we put in this blue light underneath her because I want it to look like she's kind of checking her cell phone. Give it a little more narrative, right? And then the cell phone lights hit and we start building this shot. I mean, what? Did I get this one on? Yeah, look at that. Oh, come on. When you can tell how spherical someone's eyeball is, come on. Come on. Man, she was amazing. She was so much fun. I love when models aren't like just there. I love when they're part of it, and she really was part of it, so I really appreciate her. This was me slowing down the shutter. I forgot why I did that. Probably to mitigate what was going on with the pocket light that she was holding. And we just kept on building it, giving her, watery, tear-dripping eyes. I think I closed down to 1.8 because 1.2 was so distracting to me. One, the bokeh in the back, these circles will get bigger and bigger as you open up. And I didn't want them to be like monstrous. The other thing was when it gets too soft and there's only like a razor blade in focus and it's a profile, it's very distracting because if you're not dead on, you're like, what am I looking at? And even if it is dead on, the eyeball is 5% of your shot. At that point, are people even going to notice, right? So, I mean, I totally missed her eye here, went to the bridge of her nose. It was not an ideal situation. I could not have made this more difficult for myself if I tried. Oh, look at that tear. Look at the tear. Look at the tear. Gosh, she's amazing. And so we just worked the shot, right? Bam, 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 bam. Really mixing those temperatures of light together. Was on. Man, look at my hit rate though. Come on. Look at my hit rate. Is this not entertaining? Look at that hit rate. Do you use the Z9 image zoom feature with one focus point? I don't. A lot of people swear by this like punch-in that cameras have. I think I'm just so old habit wired that when my camera punches in, I freak out because I'm not sure what my frame was anymore. I just need the frame to be the frame I'm shooting at all times. I don't want any cute little weird gimmicks on this, But this was a beast of a. I mean, there was so much against me on this one. It just really bothered me. So I gave her. Look at that. Eyelashes are sharp. Little bit of blur going on, right? Because we got a little bit of motion in there. Her fingers have a little bit of motion to them. Makes you really feel like you got image, like cinema stills, you know what I mean? And then I threw some more rainy stuff behind her. She was getting a little weird with the blood. Got a little weird. She was fun though. Then we got her reined in and we started doing the tragic stuff. So this is kind of where I left it. We could have kept working the shot. We could have kept going forward. Hey, look at this. Look at this, Will. Z9, baby. Look at that. Come on, 1.8. Side backlit. Side profile. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. But I was just trying to basically get people to realize how every little decision changes the entire frame in something like this. We're telling a narrative, no cheesy gimmicks, no cheesy tacky props. Everything I'm telling you is through the light. Everything else that's more literal on top of that is just icing. You can get this close to a narrative with just the light in the frame. Come on, forget about it. How is that $300 blood taste? I didn't even ask her. But that blood that she was rocking was $300 a pint. It's amazing. There's a big difference if you know what it's supposed to look like and you get sensitive to what blood effects should look like. There is a massive difference from cheesy jank Halloween time blood and stuff like that. Do you have any videos on the Nikon mirror focusing system? I do not, but who does is Ricci. So you're gonna look up Ricci Talks. I'm gonna type in Ricci Talks. You're gonna look up Ricci Talks on YouTube. Actually, do I have his? Let me see if I can find him. That YouTube. Ricci is awesome. He's a friend of mine. I text him like every day, and he is from Nikon UK. And he can help you out for sure with focusing systems and stuff like that. So check that out. You'll be glad you did if you're in the Nikon system. Also, one thing I want to point out is the first time I did this, people didn't realize how dark it was on that side of the face in the room. Really? Did people not get how hard that shot was? Because I guess you have no idea, right? I thought the black frame would kind of help, but whatever. The other thing I want to say is what I would normally do, check this out, is I would talk about color grading in a class like this, because I think color grading is a massive part of cinematics. But because this is raw, out of camera, this is the color I shot. But I was going to throw in something. I have a color grade that I use as a start-off point. And it gives me an idea of where I'm going as far as my lighting goes, if I'm going to land there. And typically I would be like, oh, this maybe something like this, and then, back off on something one way or another. But this is typically like something I would show, because you can do this and really show how a color grade can change your details. I mean, look at the bokeh in the background. Now it's just a burnout. I mean, and you could even look at her eye and lose that color really quickly with a color grade. But it's up to you to make the color grades you want, But if you're aiming for a certain look, like you want it to look like, the Joker 1 with all that cool tone and then warm tones out of nowhere, you're gonna have to kind of come up with that color grade and then shoot for that grade. Otherwise, your shadows might be too dense. You might be losing some detail on things. You might not come back with the image you really want, How does that $300 blood compare to your secret recipe for theater blood? Well, one, my recipe for blood is cost effective. Like I do that so I get volume instead of hyper quality. When you guys have cheap blood, one, it's typically too neon looking. Two, when it gets thin, like when it's dripping or shedding, it has a magenta look to it, which we do not want. You want it to kind of cascade and at the very least have a tiny little micro bit of yellow to it, maybe sort of, but not really. Also, the way it dries, big difference. The way it runs, the viscosity, big difference. And you can play games with food coloring all you want, but you're not playing with professional dyes there. You're playing with food coloring. So typically when I do my own mix, I'll put the red blood in there, but I'll do a ratio of just a few drops of green to take down that magenta that shows up when it gets thin. And I'll usually pump in a good amount of yellow till I see what I'm looking for. You almost kind of want that little tiny hint of like an iodine feel to it, in my opinion. But blood means different things, right? Blood from your head is a lot brighter than blood from your abdomen. Depends on if there's other bodily fluids getting mixed in there, like stomach acids and bile or whatever else. Brain fluids, things like that make a big difference. Age, all sorts of stuff makes a big difference in the color of it. So if you're going for the real, most people will not know what you did or what you're going after or what it should look like, but they'll believe it a little more and they're not even sure why. And that's kind of what we want to go for, Then that was like the big demo. That was the big class. And I wish I could have seen the crowd, because without seeing the crowd, I couldn't tell faces or expressions you know, usually you can see them nodding and you're like, okay, they're with me. Or, you know, did people come in late or did people leave? I had no idea. Apparently, I didn't even know that they gave me a sign that said like time is up or what my time, I don't know, they tell you when you got 10 minutes left or whatever. I didn't even see that. So I kind of ended it way too abruptly. I kind of wish I was aware of that. I definitely yelled at people in there. I don't know. If you were in that class in this chat, let me know how it was overall, how the vibe was. I feel like maybe I was a little like raw yelling at people, but it's what I am, guys, you know? So that was the big class. And then I was on Nikon stage. And Nikon stage, I had this incredible Sierra who is a performer in the Dita Von Teese show. So there's that. And she's amazing. I mean, look at her. But my whole demo here was to show that when I do the kill switch on my camera for the strobe, if I have auto ISO on, I get a completely different look whenever I want it, right? So it was like, if I like the ambient light, I can have it. If I want the strobe, I can have it. And I wasn't trying to go for amazing shots. I was trying to illustrate that if you're in an environment like you're doing outdoor headshots and you, what is this? Oh, wow. Look at this. You can see my hand. Let's see if I can open up that shadow. Yep. There's me in her eye. Can you read my knuckles, guys? Can you read my knuckles? That's crazy. That's kind of crazy, right? So I just was showing that you can go between the environment that you're in. If you see light that's changing, but you're stuck in strobe land where you controlled most of the light, you can still get out of it. You can still, in the middle of it, squeeze that kill flash button that I set my custom button to. And it was just an eye-opener for me. So let's say you're someone that does headshots outside and you are doing a lot of fill light with strobe, but then there's this moment where like the light changed and it's beautiful and you want just what you're seeing. Squeeze that disable flash button that you can set your camera to with auto ISO and bang, you're in it, right? So that was kind of what I was going for with this, where you could have, you know, ambient light, strobe, ambient light, strobe, ambient light, strobe, ambient light. Not that either shot is amazing, but it gives you guys an idea of what you're able to do really quickly without taking the camera away from your eye. And if you said, oh man, you know, my ISO is getting too high or whatever, you could adjust for it. Like this is ISO 720, still not that noisy in my opinion. And then it goes back to ISO 100 for your strobe because that's what you set it to, you know? What is going on there? Okay. Really sharp, I know. And that's the 24-120 f4 lens. That is what some people consider a kit lens. I love this lens. I think it's one of the most versatile and best value lens out there. If you're in the Nikon system and you're looking for a good all-around lens, I always highly recommend the 24-120 f4. Granted, it's an f4, not a 2.8. And granted, it is has a little bit of focus breathing to it if you're doing a lot of video that you want far, like long focus pulls, you'll see the focus breathing. But other than that, it's a phenomenal lens. This looks like an awesome demo. Was it filmed? So the Nikon demo actually was filmed. I do not know when they're going to put it out there. I have to get them these stills. I hate when they ask me for demo stills. They're always junk shots. I never really care about them. I never want to show them off. But here I am, gonna do that, you know. What's up, son? So there's that. And then I did the Adorama booth demo. And with that demo, I had the lovely Oksana. No male models this time, interesting. So this was just straight up strobe, Pro Photo Flash, bingo bango. And this is with a balloon in a plastic bag. And then this is a balloon in a plastic bag with a pizza box reflecting into it. So we went from this to this with a balloon, a plastic bag, and a pizza box. Those of you who have been following me for a long time have seen this demo a million times. However, some people haven't. And then what I did was I took an umbrella This is a massive umbrella light. And then I just made it so that it shapes her and contours her a little bit differently. I'm not sure why the color shift happened there. Might have been an issue on my end, actually. But this was just so that you can see that an umbrella doesn't have to stay, you know, this giant... Oh, I know why. I know why. Because that was not the umbrella light. That was the plastic bag light. This is the... I think this is the plastic bag... I can't remember anymore, guys. I'm sorry. This is the umbrella. This is the umbrella closed down so we can see how we get more control and shape on her face. And then this is the umbrella closed down with the reflector. And you can see how you change the shape of her face as you go forward. The color shift, I'm not sure where that came from. That might be from me. I probably did something weird. It's hard when you did it live and you can't remember where you were or where you went from, but it is what it is. I would love for Nikon or Fuji to ask me for images. Yeah, if they want to take one of the images you really cared about, you really worked hard for, and you put it into one of their, you know, campaigns or whatever, sure. If they're asking me for junky demo shots that are just in my opinion, temporary shots, it's kind of like, just use the tether. Use the tether, you know? So that was my 3 main demos. 1, 2, 3. No, 4. Wait, 1, 2. Yeah, 4. Those are my 4 main demos from WPPI, aside from like talks and things like that. So it was a really hectic week for me, but it was a really good one. I can't thank everybody enough for coming out to the class. You have 1,000 decisions to make when you're at these things. You can go to so many classes with some amazing instructors, but for you to sit in my class meant a lot, and I hope I gave you everything I could out there, and I hope it was useful, you know? Any questions about anything I can help you guys out with, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer it as always. Is Geoffrey still here? What is this? Geoffrey, what are you still doing here? You all right? You got somewhere to go? You okay? Yeah, you need a sandwich or something? You got... Yeah. I put up your Instagram, so hopefully you got some follows from that. Hope you guys are following Geoffrey. He's awesome. It's awesome. And definitely does some standout stuff and has some really good insights for you guys. All right, we are past the hour, guys. Last questions. Let me know. I'm not going to be here next week. I got to do a job, and I'm probably not going to be here the week after. I'm going to be in Vegas for NAB. We're going to be covering that. And if you guys do want to see what's coming out for an NAB show, I'm pretty sure the coverage videos are going to be on the Adorama Cinema channel, the new Adorama Cinema channel. Don't forget, we started a new channel just for Cine, because, you know, we want our Cine people covered. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Adorama Cine. You got, yeah. So this is the new Adorama Cinema channel, and it's got such amazing resources. You want to talk about color grading, you want to talk about workflow, you want to talk about lens selection. I mean, this channel is stacked for video information, and you guys should learn that. It will affect your stills, just like I've been talking about with the cinema style demos. You know, you just left Las Vegas. They need to schedule it out better. You're telling me you think I want to spend all this time on a plane going to and from Vegas? I had 150 pounds of gear on me this trip, just solo, for you guys. People don't see that part. You know, and then they wonder why I'm breaking discs in my back and having neck problems, you know? No, Dan, I appreciate you sitting in that class. Thank you so much for coming out to it. I really hope that you guys, if you haven't been to a live class, go to a live class. Whether it's at your local shop or it's a camera club or it's something, like go to a live in-person workshop demo and make the most out of it. Ask the questions. Recognize the details, the small little things. See the stuff that they're not talking about while they're doing the things they're talking about. It'll make sense when you go to it. But make sure that you just realize that you get out of this whatever you put into it. It's that's, I cannot express that more. People that go to trade shows that I've been to, and I come back like exhausted and there's just so much crazy stuff happening. For me, I go, I had a crazy show. I had all this stuff happened, and I met all these people, and I learned all this stuff. We were at the same show. What's the common denominator? The show. What's the difference? You and me. You get out of it what you put into it. So Imaging USA will be in Nashville next year. WPI is going to be in Vegas, obviously. There's other shows. Go check them out. You know what I mean? Hopefully Adorama brings back their version of this trade show, which years ago, if you remember, was called Inspire. Hopefully we can get that going again. I would really like to see that come back. You know, I'd really like to see Adorama start, you know, expanding a little more and doing some things like that here in New York. But it is what it is. Either way, guys, let me know if there's last questions, because I'm hitting a limit here. There is 60 of you guys in the chat and only 49 likes. That's pretty good, actually. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe. There are demos from me, Joe McNally, Ab Cisse, Lindsay Adler, Chris Knight. Did I say myself? How does the Profoto L1600D compare to flash power? You are asking the wrong questions. When you're talking about a constant light comparing to flash power, you either want to use constant light or you want to use strobe. There's a difference. Okay, so if you want to shoot cinema, you want to shoot video, you're using constant light. If you think that any constant light is gonna give you what a strobe gives you, and I'm talking about like a 2400 watt second pack, one, it'll be melting the faces off of your talent for the entire time it's on. You'll be sucking power down, it'll be huge. It's not the same thing. They're two different things. It's like saying a hammer versus a mallet. Kind of the same, but you want to use them the same. Kind of like that, all right? So think of it like that. WBI is a cool show. I am not speaking next year. I decided not to apply to speak next year at these shows. I don't know what else I got to say, especially when I got to be here talking to you guys every week. There's only so much I got in me, you know? So let me know what you guys are looking out to get out of these streams. What I can, this store is full, guys. My peripheral vision is full of everything right now. I don't even know what I was saying. Questions, last questions. Don't forget to subscribe on this channel, because this is where all the demos come out. If you cannot make it to New York in person, the 6-camera multicam, I mean, you're talking about bingo, bango, boom. And just so you have an idea of what's in my peripheral, a bunch of people talking about a bunch of things while I'm trying to talk to you guys. So, hold on. No, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wish I could. This week is just starting, guys. You have no idea how much stuff we've got to produce for you guys. There's a lot of cool things coming out I can't talk about. NAB show is going to have a lot of new releases for you guys. We're going to try to cover as much as we can. Make sure you're watching Adorama Cinema for those videos where we cover at least, I think we're covering like 20 to 30 brands this year. So make sure that you are, sorry guys, make sure you're plugged into that. Adorama on Instagram, Adorama on Twitter, X or whatever, Adorama TikTok, all the stuff if you're trying to stay up on what's being given away, what's coming up as far as events go, the email list. I mean, everybody's like, how do I find out? Blah, blah, blah. That's how you find out. Yeah, I will take care of me when I'm good. I'm all right. I'm actually in the best condition I've ever been coming back from a show. I don't know what I did differently, but I have a voice. I don't have my vocal cords ripped out of my throat. I guess because I didn't do too many booth demos, I just did stages. But you can follow my stuff here. If you guys want to hit my own channel up, you can hit my YouTube channel up for more stuff. Check out my work on Instagram. I did put up a reel of WPI. If you guys could go check that out, hit like, drop a comment. I'd appreciate it very much so. It's easy to do, and it goes a long way for guys like me. Don't forget, there are things coming up. Coffee with Creators is Wednesday, 11 a.m. That is going to be live, and that's going to be with Ovek. The week after that, we are going to see Jerry Guiones for episode 50 of Coffee with Creators. that is going to be a big deal because we did 50 episodes of Call for Creators, and hopefully we'll have a demo that night too. I don't want to confirm it yet, but hopefully there'll be something cool for you at 5 p.m. next Wednesday. And there is, Dan's live this week. Dan is doing freezing water, which doesn't mean cold water. He's going to be freezing the action with splashing water. So if you are someone that's trying to learn about flash duration, how to freeze action with strobe, Thursday, 5 p.m. on the main channel, 5 p.m. Eastern on the main channel. This is going to be so much fun. It's one of those old school demos that me and Dan used to do all the time. So hopefully you guys can plug into that on the main channel. So subscribe here. Make sure Adorama TV is on your hit list as well. I keep losing my place. I'm sorry, guys. You probably can't hear, but there's a lot of talk going on around my face right now. All right. I got a bunch of editing to do. Stay tuned to Adorama for some new product release videos. Don't forget to check out Ab Cisse's GFX 100 RF video. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, Heidi. So check that out. Make sure you don't miss out on that one. Yeah, well, this is also like 4 inches from my face while I'm streaming. So out of the entire place, this is what happens. It's amazing how no matter what you're doing, it's like right next to you, right? We were filming a video on WPPI, and a guy in the last seconds of a one take flashes a giant green LED on my face. And then when everyone stops and looks at him, he goes, "What do you want? You're at a show." Not an "I'm sorry," not a, "oh," you know, nothing. Just like I was the problem for trying to film there. So a show full of a bunch of people who are trying to create media and create content who don't understand flashing a giant light in someone's face while they're doing a recording. Just understand where you are. Recognize there's people around you, especially at trade shows. Recognize that you're probably in someone's video, or that someone's trying to actually create something that's building a platform and doing something. So just know that. More of a question, people saying LED is not as powerful as flash, not about how it's used. Just wondering if its tech is advanced. It costs 8K, so assuming it's cutting edge. So the reason you're looking at $8,000 on a Pro Photo LED light is there's a bunch of technology in there, right? It's water cooled, number one. A water cooled LED light means there is zero noise, meaning that you can have a high powered light that is only one piece that goes on a stand that's that much output, while also being Bowens and Pro Photo mount. Is $8 grand a lot of money? Yes, it is. Is this the beginning of their LED lineup? Yes, it is. So if this is the first look at the technology they're looking to build in their constant lights, then you are kind of seeing some cool stuff. Is everyone going to adopt this light? No, of course not. Is it going to be rental houses? Probably. Are you going to be able to get access to it? Are you going to be able to get access to it for just like a small fee for renting? Yeah. And then you're going to get an idea of the quality of light, how clean it is, how easy it was to set up for the amount of power you're getting out of it, the versatility and the modifiers, and the technology of having a water-cooled light where you don't have any sound. You can film sound, like really sound critical scenes without having to worry about a fan in any way. You know, and yeah, there's very quiet fans out there, but we're only getting more and more sensitive and doing things. You know, it's all right. I'm almost out of here. It's all right. It's all right. I'm almost out of here. It's all right. It's fine. All right. No. You have a great week, guys. I appreciate you. But just, you know, sometimes, maybe next time, your thoughts on the ZF. Did you guys not know that I did the video for the ZF? Did you guys not know it was like one of my favorite videos? I don't know if it was my favorite video, but I liked the shots out of it, and it was a lot of fun. So this is the Nikon ZF video that I did. And I'll put the link in the chat. You guys can check it out. This is for you, Heidi. And I like to think I put it through a lot of paces. I did a lot of things. Strobe, not strobe, inside, outside, gel swaps, different lenses. So go check that out if you're looking at the Nikon ZF. It was a very surprising camera, I will say. I did not expect what was inside that thing at all. I thought it was just going to be like a shell, but you know, here I am in burning sunlight shooting my friend Ashley, who is like, she's amazing. However, you know, only you can tell you if it's right for you, right? So that's the other thing about these trade shows is, I mean, look at her, gosh. That's the other thing about these trade shows. If you had any question about the ZF, you go to the Nikon booth, you get the ZF in your hand, and then you have someone from Nikon answering any question you have or walking you through some things you might not realize is about the equipment. And that's every brand, right? So think of it that way. Just won a press photographer's banquet. Maybe next time. Oh, you just won one. You actually have this camera. Wait a second. Wait, what? Did you just won a Nikon ZF? That's awesome. Yo, congratulations. If anything, it gives you a camera that's a lot of fun to get into as far as the system is. Get yourself a couple lenses, knock yourself out. You are going to be seeing things differently than another camera would. The interface is different, the colors are different, things like that. But, you know, now it gives you an idea of what you can do with a different system, or it's its own isolated camera for you to have a blast with, you know? So go check that out. That's awesome, Heidi. Congratulations. That's amazing. I wish I won a camera. Wish I won that. All right, guys, I'm not going to be here next week again. So I'll see you on here. It's going to be a minute. However, I will see you Wednesday for Coffee with Creators. And yeah, that's sick. Came with the 40mm f2. So 40mm f2, quick disclaimer, really cool looking lens. Very, 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 very soft at f2. So it has like a weird kind of bokeh and look to it at f2. If you want that dreamy type look. If you want to be a little bit more, go to 2.8, and I think you'll see more of the sharpness you're looking for. But that 40mm f2 is like, you know, under $300, and it's a plastic mount lens. It wasn't meant to be like a hardcore banger. So, but that lens is a lot of fun. I'd recommend the 50mm 1.4 if you're looking for something that is low cost and just like an easy lens to get into. Or the 24 to 120 f4. It's got a lot of real estate on it for a camera like the ZF, but it is a lens that you probably won't have to worry about swapping out too much unless you want to keep it small, in which case you have a lot of options. This lens over here is the 50mm 1.8 that this is the 35mm 1.8. The Coffee with Creators is shot on the 50mm 1.8 if you want to check out that show so you get an idea of what that looks like. This is the 35 1.8, which is a pretty cost-effective lens. I think it's like $500-600 if you guys want something like that. But you have a lot of options, so it's gonna be a lot of fun for you for sure. Yeah, the f2 on the 40mm is just weird. There's like, it's just got this dreamy, I don't want to say Vaseline-y, but it's got like this weird softness to it that you either appreciate or you don't. I kind of appreciate it. In fact, what am I talking about? I think this is the 40mm f2 right there. So that's what that looks like, the 40mm f2, you know? Yeah, of course, Heidi. And that's the reason I do this, is that you have a place to come where you can just go, let me ask you this and get an answer. Hopefully, if I can answer you. I do my best to answer. I can't know everything. I try. And hopefully this is a good resource for you guys and a place you know you can come and hang out and a place that you can belong. And don't forget, you can come to 42 West 18th Street in person to an event. And you can sit in one of these chairs and you can come to a Daniel Norton demo, a Joe McNally demo, Lindsay Adler demo. You can come and hang out here. 5 p.m. is usually the time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. There's something, you know, so if I'm here, I will make it happen for you guys. I can't always be here. You know, it's like Superman. Do everything, but can't be everywhere, right? So it's one of those things. Do anything, but can't be everywhere. Something like that. Not that I'm not even a Superman guy. I'm a Venom, Carnage, Spawn sometimes guy. You know, I go on. Anyway, actually, Scud Disposable Assassin is probably the best comic book of all time. Not going to get into it. All right, I've been trying to get out of here for a minute. It is 1:30, boy. We've been going for it, huh? Okay. Wow, I have a lot of text messages. Okay. The 35 1.2 is a dream. It's a big lens physically, though. It is a beautiful lens. When Joe used it, he called me and told me how much he thought it was great, how great he thought it was. I missed on doing that because the lens came out during imaging and I was teaching classes at imaging. So I can't be on every video or grab every release, unfortunately. However, I do find it fortunate that I get to be in as many videos as I can be for the new releases, because it gives me an insight on what every brand is doing and why they do what they do and how they do what they do. And I hope that relates to you when you guys have questions about whatever. I can kind of help you navigate that a little bit, you know, as far as your choices or what you're trying to get out of the equipment and what gear is more optimal for whatever you're trying to do and stuff like that, you know. Cool. In May, there should be a lot of stuff going on in May. I might even, I'm thinking about it. I might even redo the demo. I'm thinking about it, where I photographed my own mom for Mother's Day. I never streamed it. I don't know if she'd be into streaming it. I don't know if I want to stream my mom, but I do love my mom, and I know she's not gonna be here forever. So there's that. Okay, cool. All right, guys, look, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of the week. I will see you here for Coffee with Creators at 11 a.m. On Adorama TV. And I will see you Thursday with Daniel Norton for freezing water splashes and, you know, just talking about freezing action and motion with flash duration and all that sort of good stuff. I hope you guys get really amped up. You get psyched up. Heidi, that's awesome that you won that camera. What a fun camera. And all right. I guess that's it, guys. Follow me here. I'll see you on my YouTube channel for some other stuff. Drop me comments. Check out my Instagram's latest reel for my recap of all the demos that I just talked about from WPBI. I'd appreciate a like or a comment on that. It would just to get some engagement on there because, you know, Instagram's rough. And don't forget, this is not Adorama TV. Hit subscribe. Adorama Events. There's 8 other episodes of this. If you want to know more about Edge Mask, episode 1 was all about Edge Mask. Go check it out. I love you all. I love you all. Seriously, I love you all. But it's time for me to go, guys. I did falafel yesterday. I don't know. What am I feeling? I don't know. I'll find some New York street food. Be good to each other out there. Goodbye, baby.